The Devil's Contract. Chapter 1, The Deal. Jenny was desperate to save her dying mother. She had tried everything from selling her possessions to taking out loans, but nothing seemed to work. That's when she heard about the old man who lived on the outskirts of town. People said he had the power to grant wishes, but at a price. With no other options left, Jenny made her way to the old man's house. The place was dark and eerie, with overgrown weeds and cobwebs covering the windows. She hesitated for a moment, but the thought of her mother's frail body pushed her forward. As she knocked on the door, she heard a creaking sound and the door slowly opened. The old man appeared before her, with a crooked smile on his face. "I've been expecting you," he said in a raspy voice. Jenny was taken aback by his words but tried to stay composed. She told him about her mother's illness and begged for his help. The old man stroked his long beard and said, "I can help you, my dear. But everything comes at a price?" Jenny nodded, thinking that she was willing to pay any price to save her mother's life. The old man continued, "I can grant your wish, but in exchange, I will take something from you. Something that you hold dear. Something that is worth more than your own life." Jenny didn't know what to make of his words, but her love for her mother overpowered any hesitation she felt. "What do you want?" she asked, almost in a whisper. The old man leaned in closer and whispered, "Your soul." Jenny froze, but before she could process his words, the old man added, "Think carefully, my dear. Once you make the deal, there's no going back. Your soul will be mine forever." Jenny felt a chill run down her spine, but she was desperate. She made the deal with the old man, sealing her fate. As she left the old man's house, Jenny couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off. But she pushed those thoughts aside, knowing that her mother's life was more important than anything else. Little did she know, the price she paid for her mother's life was much higher than she could have ever imagined. Chapter 2, The Deal. Sophie couldn't shake off the strange feeling that had taken hold of her since her encounter with the mysterious old man. She kept replaying their conversation in her head, wondering if she had made the right decision. But deep down, she knew she didn't have a choice. Days went by, and Sophie began to notice changes in her life. At first, they were subtle: a sudden increase in her bank account, her boss praising her work more than usual. But soon, the changes became more significant. She was promoted to a higher position at work, and her colleagues started treating her with newfound respect. As much as she enjoyed the newfound success, Sophie couldn't ignore the fact that it all felt too good to be true. She couldn't shake off the feeling that something sinister was at play. One night, Sophie was sitting in her living room, trying to relax after a long day at work when she heard a knock on the door. She opened it to find the old man standing on her doorstep. "Hello, Sophie. How are you enjoying your success?" he asked, with a sly smile. Sophie felt a chill run down her spine. "What do you want?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. The old man stepped forward and handed her a piece of paper. "I'm here to collect what's mine," he said. Sophie looked at the paper in horror. It was a contract, a deal with the devil. She had unknowingly traded her soul for success. The old man chuckled. "Don't worry, Sophie. You still have one more chance to redeem yourself. All you have to do is complete one task for me." Sophie listened intently as the old man explained the task. It was something that went against everything she believed in, but she didn't have a choice. She had already sold her soul, and now she had to pay the price. As the old man left her apartment, Sophie knew that her life would never be the same again. She had made a deal with the devil, and now she was bound to pay the ultimate price. Chapter 3: The Price. As I made my way to the old shop, my heart raced with fear and anticipation. I could hear my own footsteps echoing in the quiet street. When I finally arrived, I found the door slightly ajar, inviting me inside. I hesitated for a moment before finally pushing it open and stepping inside. The air was thick with the smell of old books and dust. The dim light of a few flickering candles illuminated the cluttered shelves and strange trinkets that filled the room. And there, at the center of it all, sat the old man behind a large wooden desk. His eyes were piercing, and his wrinkled face seemed to be etched with a lifetime of secrets. I could feel his gaze examining me, assessing my worth, and my heart began to pound in my chest. "Welcome, my dear," he said, his voice low and gravelly. "I have been expecting you." I stepped forward nervously, and he motioned for me to take a seat across from him. As I sat down, he leaned forward, his eyes locked onto mine. "Now, my dear, let us talk about the price," he said, his voice laced with a sense of foreboding. "You see, everything has a price. And in this case, the price for what you desire is nothing less than your soul." My heart skipped a beat at his words. I had known that the price would be high, but I had never expected this. But why? I asked, my voice trembling. "Why would you ask for such a thing?" The old man leaned back in his chair and smiled knowingly. "Because, my dear, some things are worth more than mere money. Some things require a sacrifice, a commitment. And your soul is the ultimate commitment." I sat there in silence, feeling the weight of his words settle heavily upon me. I knew what I had come here for, but was I truly willing to pay such a high price? Was it worth it? The old man watched me with an almost predatory gaze, waiting for my answer. And as I sat there, my mind racing with doubt and fear, I couldn't help but wonder what kind of deal I had just made.